and welcome to this month's edition of the Worcester Public Library's Coming Soon titles. I'm Taylor, and this is my colleague,
Joy.
Today, I will be doing fiction as usual, and Joy will be doing nonfiction. All of these will be available in print and hopefully in ebook or audiobook format as well. And with that, Joy, do you want to take it away?
Well, my first choice for this month is Africa Town, America's Last Slave Ship and the Community It Created, by journalist Nick Tabor. The first ship carrying Africans bound for enslavement landed in Jamestown in 1619, 1 year after the Pilgrims arrived, 1 year before the Pilgrims arrived in Plymouth. The last, the Clotilda, docked in 1860, 1 year before the beginning of the Civil War. Think about it. The descendants of those first Africans had lived in the United States for over 200 years when enslaver Timothy Maher purchased 200 souls in the Kingdom of Dahomey, now Benin, in 1859 and transported them to the United States illegally. The transatlantic slave trade had been outlawed in 1808, but that didn't stop Maher, who perhaps not surprisingly was never prosecuted for his crime. I can't help but wonder, did the newcomers mingle with the enslaved people whose ancestors had arrived centuries before and share stories of their lost African homeland? Did they preserve their religious practices and traditions and languages, and if so, for how long? Well, I could probably Google the answers to all of these questions, but instead, I'll wait for a copy of Africa Town by Nick Tabor, which will be released on February 21st. In his work, Tabor traces the lives of the survivors of the Clotilda's voyage who, after emancipation, planned to do what any people stolen from home might do: return to the place from whence they came. But when that didn't pan out, they did the next best thing. They built a town, Africa Town. Despite everything that a racist America could throw at them, their town grew. And this didn't go unnoticed by Black intellectuals, among them author Zora Neale Hurston, who wrote about Africa Town in a 16-page essay. No question, this is a story of resilience, but not one of unmitigated triumph. Generations of Africa Town residents were plagued by poverty, discrimination, and industrial pollution. In 2012, however, Africa Town was placed on the National Register of Historic Places, which catalyzed a process of preservation and renewal. Even better, in 2018, the ship in which Africa Town's people began their painful journey was recovered in Mobile Bay. Another piece of neglected history restored.
I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea about any of this, so I'm also very ready for February 21st.
I gotta tell you, I've been reading history voraciously from the time when I was a young girl, and I am 68. I had never heard of this, and if you want me to riff on it a little further, I'd never heard of the Tulsa riots, and so, we really do need to reshape our understanding of American history. Enough of soapbox.
Okay. All right, well, I'm going to take a quick turn and talk about my first fiction choice, Scorched Grace, a Sister Holiday Mystery by Margot Dowahy. Sister Holiday is a novitiate at the Sisters of Sublime Blood Convent, trying to instill her students her love of music and the healing power of prayer. She's also a chain smoker and heavily tattooed, which is all information she tries to keep a secret from her students as she looks for a place to belong. Somewhere in their midst, however, an arsonist blooms, as one by one, school buildings are set on fire. After the loss of two of her close friends in these devastating fires, Holiday decides to rely on her previous skills and help the police find out who's behind these devious acts. Hoping for redemption of her own, she must make amends with her own past before laying blame. More fires and deaths occur as Holiday's investigation heats up, pitting her against her fellow sisters and staff. Given her background, she becomes a prime suspect. An exciting start to a bold series that breathes new life into the hard-boiled genre. Scorched Grace is a fast-paced and punchy whodunit that will keep readers guessing until the very end. A powerful story about religion and sin, family and secrets, Scorched Grace is a unique and emotional novel set against the backdrop of New Orleans and all its sticky, sweaty heat and unrelenting beauty and charm. And that last little quip was from Mystery and Suspense magazine.
Woo!
So,
you don't often see religion treated seriously, except in the religious press and by the religious publishers. So this sounds really interesting.
I'm definitely interested in this one. I think from what I've been reading, they did a great job of mixing in religion with things that typically don't mesh together.
Oh, yeah.
But like in a way that readers will actually enjoy and not feel like it's like satirical or anything.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, my next choice is The Wise Hours, A Journey into the Wild and Secret World of Owls by Miriam Darlington. Listen to the words of Miriam Darlington as she describes the beginning of her quest to discover the secrets of that most common and enigmatic of nature's creatures, the owl. Quote, "One minute I was sipping tea by my window. There was nothing but the palest gray light and a wisp of steam from my cup. And then a shadow swooped out of the air with the lightest of scratches, as if the dawn light was solidifying into life. There it was, perched like an exclamation point on the balcony. An owl come to my home." End quote. Lyrical indeed. Owls have existed for over 60 million years, and in the relatively short time we have shared the earth with them, they have figured in story and lore. They are wise. They are harbingers of death. They are the cute, cuddly, big-eyed creatures our children love, and they are cold, remote, and vaguely menacing. Their watchful stillness unnerves us, and their plaintive cry calls to us. For all that, much of what constitutes the true nature of the owl remains hidden. Darlington began her fieldwork in the British Isles with her teenage son Benji. As her avian fascination grew, she expanded her focus to France, Serbia, Spain, Finland, and the Arctic, alas, not the United States, where she observed the tawny owl, long-eared owl, pygmy owl, snowy owl, and more. And when her son developed a mysterious illness, her quest to understand the elusive nature of owls became entangled in her search for finding an equally elusive cure for him. PW gave The Wise Hours a starred review and calls it heartfelt and enchanting. The Amazon reviewer wrote, quote, "In The Wise Hours, Darlington watches and listens to the natural world and to the rhythms of her home and family, inviting readers to discover the wonders of owls alongside her, while rewilding our imagination with the mystery, fragility, and magnificence of all creatures."
Definitely interested in that.
Yeah, oh, I love owls.
Over the summer, we have a tree that's like right in front of our porch.
Yeah.
We saw like that, a little swoop, a blur of a shadow, and we couldn't figure out what it was. Thought it might be like, a bird or something.
Yeah.
And it turned, and we saw those big, big eyes, and it was a little saw-whet owl.
Oh.
It was so cute, but at the same time, we were both like, don't move.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
You have these
what if it gets us?
Yeah, you have this mixed, almost as if it's a combination between a cute bird and a bat. You get kind of,
Yes.
What's this?
It's exciting but nerve-wracking.
Exactly.
All right. So my next book is End Papers by Jennifer Sarvin Kelly. Dawn Levitt, an aspiring artist, works as a book conservationist at the Met in NYC. She feels as though she is at a standstill both career-wise and in her relationship with her boyfriend Lucas. She's envious of her peers who have already begun their art careers, and on top of that, Dawn struggles with finding a balance between her gender identity and expression. Lucas keeps her at a distance and seems to prefer her masculine side, while at work, the thought of dressing more masculine terrifies Dawn, not knowing what her coworkers would think. With all these thoughts churning in her mind, one day while preparing a book, Dawn discovers a torn-off book cover from the 50s inserted into the end papers. The cover depicts a woman looking into a mirror and seeing a man in their reflection with a handwritten love letter on the back. Her search for the woman who wrote this note leads her to Gertrude Kleber, who left Nazi Germany for New York, where her father worked also as a bookbinder. Gertrude's memories of society were more repressive than the present, and of forging her own rebellion in a group, the Sapphic Warriors, who would write and bind stories depicting the joyful lives we wished we could live, and tuck them inside dime store novels. Inspired by Gertrude's life and story, Dawn launches a collaborative project that makes her feel like an artist again. This is a character-driven story with wholly believable characters. End Papers is set in 2003 and discusses the lingering effects of 9/11. It also examines the homophobia and violence rampant in the 50s and their presence still felt decades later. From Publishers Weekly, Kelly populates the novel with a roundly developed cast, including Dawn's best friend and her diverse co-workers. And while the mystery of why Gertrude's letter was bound into the book will keep the reader turning pages, it's Dawn's evolution as an artist and a person that gives the novel its beating heart. Readers will find lots of love.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
A nice coming of age as an adult story.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, my last choice for this month is I Know Who You Are, How an Amateur DNA Sleuth Unmasked the Golden State Killer and Changed Crime Fighting Forever, by Barbara Ray Venter. Well, Barbara Ray Venter may be an amateur sleuth, but that description may be a trifle misleading. The New Zealand-born author is a biochemist and retired patent lawyer with what one reviewer calls an obsessive scientific mind, who had formerly been married to a world-renowned geneticist. So it is safe to say that she's better equipped to solve criminal and genealogical cold cases than most of us, even me. Kidding. And that she has done. Her interest in genetic genealogy began when she agreed to help a cousin find her birth father. Ironically, she has not yet solved that mystery, but she has gone on to solve many others, the most famous among them, the identity of the Golden State Killer. Now, for those of you who have been living under a rock, or at least have not read Michelle McNamara's I'll Be Gone in the Dark, and if you haven't, you should. The Golden State Killer committed at least 13 murders and countless rapes over 12 years before he disappeared for, get this, 44 years. The case appeared to be destined to remain cold forever until Barbara Ray Venter, using all the tools that genetic genealogy and traditional family history afford, named the perpetrator, former police officer Joseph D'Angelo. D'Angelo, perhaps for obvious reasons, pled guilty and was convicted in 2020. But until recently, the identity of the person who accomplished this feat remained unknown. Venter says that was because she was concerned for her safety, so she stayed on the down low. Now, however, she has written what reviewers have called an immersive, propulsive, true crime thriller, focusing not just on the Golden State Killer, but on other fascinating, albeit heartbreaking cases in which she has been involved. PW gave I Know Who You Are a starred review, and FBI mindhunter John Douglas calls it a true crime masterpiece and an epic read. I am only sorry that Michelle McNamara did not live to read it. And Taylor, this has been on my hold list for months. And so when it comes out in about a week or so, I hope I'm the first to get it.
I'll keep everything crossed for you.
Okay.
I hope the same. All right, so to wrap it up, my final pick is Your Driver is Waiting by Priya Guns. Damani is our narrator, a Sri Lankan rideshare driver who is on the brink of collapse. Her father passed away just 6 months ago, and it has fallen on her shoulders to support her and her mom since. She works long days, scraping by paycheck to paycheck, watching the rideshare app take the bulk of her wages while she drives around rude customers who barely tip if they do at all. She's tired of the city, tired of her job, tired of her role as caretaker, and tired of trying to survive in a world that seems fundamentally rigged against her. One day while working, Damani picks up a beautiful woman named Jolene. They have instant chemistry. Jolene is a proud ally who joins the daily protests that seem to erupt around the city. She is a social worker and hosts expensive fundraisers to raise awareness and funds, all between weekends at her family's summer cottage, a packed schedule of yoga and spin classes, and of course, with a beautiful home and expensive champagne to return to each night. Which, I don't know about you, but I don't know any social worker who lives luxuriously. But good for her.
I am befuddled. Okay.
A relationship with golden, sparkling Jolene seems so ideal for Damani until it totally is not. After introducing Jolene to her friends, tensions build between the two. Can Jolene actually see through her white privilege? Is she really anti-capitalist or only when it's convenient? This is not a romance, nor is it really a thriller. It is the definition of literary fiction, a slow-moving character study that pivots hard halfway through into an adrenaline-inducing sprint to the last page, crossed with political satire and dark comedy. It's an excellent social commentary on the disparity between the privileged advocates for social justice and the ones experiencing injustice, and absolutely nails what it promises to accomplish through finely crafted storytelling. Publishers Weekly says Gunn's sharp and bonkers debut reimagines Taxi Driver for the Uber era. This has plenty of bite.
Oh, that one is definitely going to be on my
Right?
There's a lot of good literary fiction coming out of India. That sounds, although Sri Lanka isn't India technically, but wow, I'm going to read that one.
Yeah, this one out of the 3 that I did, I think this one's got it for me.
Yeah.
But okay,
All
so
right.
that's all we have. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys next month.
See you later, fellow readers.
Bye-bye.